This has major implications for this Miami Heat organization after we just learned brand new information about how the Miami Heat may be looking to part ways with guard Terry Rozier before training camp even begins. We'll break down all of that report as well as how, if Rozier does make it to training camp, he has a chance to revive his entire career in Miami. We'll break down all of that on this episode of Heat Digest. But first, please do remember, scroll down and click the subscribe button if you're a part of the near 90% watching this video not currently subscribed to the channel. We do appreciate all the love and support, so thank you guys. But now let's get to it and break down major Terry Rozier updates for this Miami Heat organization, as not only do we have a brand new article with some pretty interesting ideas, but also it just wraps up this entire Terry Rozier conversation that we have now had for 6 to 8 months, with him being a part of this Miami Heat team and being very lackluster on the basketball court, but as well as being involved in a federal gambling investigation that we still have no verdict for. So let's get to it and break down the first thing, and that would be this article written by Brett Siegel, posted on Twitter. I will tag it down below if you'd like to read the entirety of it, but we are going to focus on a few key points, including these quotes. Now, Rozier continues to be under federal gambling investigation surrounding unusual betting patterns around his performance on the court. To this point, Rozier has not been cleared of any wrongdoing, which is another reason, besides his lackluster numbers, why he holds no market. This is something we've addressed on this channel at nauseum, because we know that Miami Heat have been looking to move Terry Rozier in one way or another, but because of the just lack of production on the basketball court and just not looking like a high-level guard or a high-level basketball player anymore, at least through the last year and some change that we've watched in a Heat jersey, as well as now being tagged to this federal gambling investigation that's alleged. There's no market for Terry Rozier. No one is going to bite the bait. All of these front offices and all of these managements surrounding the association all know, they are all on the same page. Why would anyone give up anything for Terry Rozier? Why would you not just allow Miami to sit in a very tough spot until they absolutely just get rid of him, and you can go out there and acquire Rozier for absolutely nothing, rather than giving up draft compensation or assets in the sense of players for someone in Rozier you don't really want to give up assets for, because of what you have seen in the past and what is being tagged to him, and you don't know whether or not he's going to be considered innocent or if he's going to be guilty by the time this verdict comes about. So to continue with the article, before training camp begins at the end of the month, the Heat are seriously considering cutting ties with Rozier, sources said. However, with no trade market existing in the veteran guard informing the team he has no interest in a buyout, Miami's only path to moving off Rozier would be waiving him and taking on his $26.5 million contract as dead money. Now, Miami is in an extremely tough spot for all the factors we've already addressed. Rozier and the alleged gambling operation. 2, the lack of production and just not being playing at the highest level, or really any level on the floor for this Heat team for the last 6 to 8 months and some change. But then you add the fact that Rozier has made it abundantly clear to this Miami Heat organization that he is not interested in a buyout where they would then pay at least a large percentage of his salary for this final year of his deal, which again is $26.5 million, to then allow him to test the free agency market. He has no interest in doing so. So the only way Miami has the chance to get rid of Rozier off of the books, and again, he wouldn't even be off the books. He would just be out of the depth chart. He'd be off the roster. But this money, this $26.6 million remaining on this final year of his deal, would still be on the Miami Heat books and on the payroll, where they would have to then pay him out, because again, it is dead money. It doesn't just go away, unfortunately, for Miami. So to move on in the article, if the organization were to cut Rozier, it would open up more immediate minutes for Devion Mitchell, Drew Smith, and the 2025 first-round pick, Kasparis. Nonetheless, Rozier won't be a primary piece of Spoelstra's rotation should he be on their opening night roster. Now, few very good points. These young guys in Devion Mitchell, Drew Smith, who we just saw, despite having an injury-riddled career up to this point, being active in the league for 5 years now and not being able to play more than 20 games in a season because of substantial knee and ankle injuries, whether it be the MCL, the Achilles, the ACL. These are major injuries, and these are things that Drew Smith has gone through constantly, year after year after year, and it's been so unfortunate. He's been dealt a very, very unfortunate hand, unlucky hand, if you will. But with that, the Miami Heat still bit on the bait. They have watched him play at high levels, and they trust his abilities and his talents. And with that, they went out and paid him, just like De'Vion Mitchell, who got that 2-year, $24 million deal earlier this offseason. Where are they going to go with the guard spot? Well, Tyler Hero just went down with injury. Now, is he out for the season? No. But is he going to miss a substantial amount of time? Yes. And at least through the early months of the season, Hero is not going to be active after having a foot surgery because the cortisone shots and other supplements were not relieving the pain all the way, and he was still in discomfort all off season. He didn't want to wait any longer and pulled the trigger on having the surgery. With that being said, there is going to be more minutes in the guard positions. Yes, is there a good amount of depth already on this team? Absolutely. But is there now a window of opportunity, even though it may be ever so slight? Could Rozier go out there and prove his worth, if he makes it to training camp, that he is an able and eligible body to be used and work at a high level for this Miami Heat organization? Yes. Will he make it to training camp? We do not know yet. But if there is any glimmer of just not wanting to take on this dead money for Rozier, in the sense of just cutting him from this team, it seems like the Heat may be in a position where they should just give Rozier the opportunity of training camp, the first opening weeks of the NBA season. I'm not saying start him. I'm not saying play him 30 to 40 minutes a game, but put him in spots where he can go out there and be productive, whether it's in the second unit or even filling in as that third guard coming off the bench. Rozier, we've seen it in the past with the Celtics, early stages with the Charlotte Hornets. He has great abilities on a court. It's just in Miami, it has not worked out for him. Now, there's a lot of moving parts. Yes, with Rozier, no trade market because of the lackluster play and the gambling operation, not wanting to be bought out. Miami only option really with no trade market and not having the ability to buy out Terry Rozier. Do they just cut him from the team? It's a lot of moving parts. Miami has time in front of them. This is not something they are trying to race. There's no timer they're trying to beat. This is something they can take their time with and go about their business, especially with the injury to Tyler Hero. It will be interesting to see how this all plays out. If they do decide to cut Terry Rozier contract, it's going to be a bit interesting. But if they were to go out and get some specific free agents, someone like Precious Achiuwa, someone that we saw on this Miami Heat team prior, and others. Obviously, Russell Westbrook is still available. There are other names that could be brought in for a very, very small minimum that could boost this team. Whether or not they go in that direction, it'll be interesting. I can't wait to see how this all plays out. Let me know down below what you would do if you were in the front office of this Miami Heat organization. Would you cut Rozier, or would you give him the opportunity to go out there and prove his worth once again in training camp and in the early stages of the NBA season? I'll see you guys on the next episode of Heat Digest. Thank you guys for watching.